So this video is going to be me just talking to you about the thought process that I've had when it comes to buying a new camera. It's time for an upgrade. It's time to buy a cinema camera. This is the Canon EOS R, and it is my main camera, and I love it, but it has some drawbacks. The dynamic range is terrible. The low light is not much better. That said, I love the camera, but it is time for an upgrade. If you're in video production and you're starting to get bigger and bigger clients, you know what it's like to have that pressure of making your gear match the level of clients you want. And I want to keep raising and getting better clients and bigger clients. And I feel like I've hit a point with my camera body that I've kind of maxed out its potential. The EOS R is a great camera, but it just, it's a digital mirrorless camera, right? It still has that digital feel to it, and it lacks a certain cinematic quality that is really hard to achieve unless you have a cinema camera. Honestly, when you're starting out, it doesn't matter. But once you get going and you start to really understand your gear and understand everything that goes into making a good shot, you're gonna understand what I mean when I say it's lacking. I've built everything else around this to a point to where this shines as bright as it can shine. My light kit is really good. My audio kit is really good. My lenses are great. And now my drawback is the camera body. So, what camera am I going to get? Well, like I said, I need a cinema camera. So I'm between three options: the Canon C70, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K, and the Zcam E2-S6. Three cameras that I feel like are my best options. And after all the research, I think I've decided to buy the Zcam E2-S6. So before I get to that camera, let me just talk about the C70 and the Blackmagic camera really quickly. The C70 is undoubtedly a fantastic camera. I've watched plenty of videos on it. The people that have been lucky enough to get their hands on it are making some really good content with it and capturing some really great images. It's kind of the best of both worlds, right? It's kind of got this DSLR form factor, right? But it has the brains of a cinema camera, and that's like a filmmaker's dream. The only problem is the price. It's $5,500, and don't get me wrong, that's actually an incredible value for a cinema camera. I wouldn't be wasting money if I spent $5,500 on a cinema camera in terms of technically what I'm getting. But I feel like as a business investment, I don't think $5,500 on that camera is the best investment. Plus, I have to get a ton of batteries, battery chargers. I'm gonna end up spending $7,000 or $8,000 to make the Canon C70 fit in my workflow the way it needs to fit. And so quite simply, I just wanna spend like half of that. So that leaves me with two other options, and that's the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K. Now, funny enough, I bought the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. In fact, it was going to be an upgrade to my first camera, the Canon 80D. And the 4K never came. I waited for 3 months, 4 months, and I sent an email to B&H. I sent an email to Blackmagic. They had no idea when it was going to show up, and I was tired of waiting. It was time for an upgrade. The 80D, while it's still a good camera, was just really lacking in the video department. It lacked the sharpness that I needed for the quality of work that I was doing. So I canceled the order, and that's when I picked up the Canon EOS R. This was a couple years ago, and I don't regret that decision. I absolutely love this camera. It's been fantastic. But like I said, after 2 years of using it, I've really found out its weak spots, and it's time to alleviate those spots. Is that a word? Is that the right word? What does alleviate? Make suffering, deficiency, or problem less severe. Yeah, I used it right. It was time to get rid of the problem that the EOS R caused, and that was lack of dynamic range, lack of low light. The next logical place was a cinema camera, And so now I'm like, well, hey, I tried to get the 4K the first time and I ended up getting the EOS R. Well, maybe I can just get the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera 6K. You know, to be quite honest, it's still on the table. It's a great little camera. In fact, it takes the same batteries that the EOS R takes, and it's an RF mount, which is the same as the EOS R. Now, I have all EF lenses, so I have to adapt to it, but it's still relying on that Canon glass, which is really cool. Some of the biggest drawbacks with the Blackmagic camera are the form factor. I think it's kind of weird. It still has that DSLR kind of feel, and it's just a little bit more difficult to kind of kit out to be a cinema rig. It's not impossible, but it's just not quite as a good a solution as what the Z-Cam has. Also, the monitor on it is great, but you would definitely have to get another monitor because it doesn't articulate or anything like that. And that's not necessarily a negative because the Z-Cam doesn't even really have a monitor at all, so I can't really complain about that. But the biggest drawback to me for the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera 6K is the battery life. While it takes the same batteries that I have, and I have like 16 of them, it is like really inefficient with batteries. A full charge on a LP-E6 battery will get you about 40 minutes of record time on the Blackmagic 6K camera. And the solution is to get a battery grip, to have 2 batteries, or to rig it up in a way that you can use V-mount. And I would probably go the V-mount direction, which is honestly kind of expensive and would just put me in the same category as the Z-Cam in terms of price. So that really made me think, wow, this Z-Cam is kind of standing out. So let me break down why I think the Z-Cam is standing out, just in my opinion, and why I'm probably going to go with the Z-Cam. The Z-Cam actually has an EF mount, which is great because all of my lenses are EF, and so I don't have to adapt at all. Better yet, the Z-Cam offers interchangeable lens mounts. So that camera, technically, if I decided to switch to all, you know, Sony lenses or all Canon cinema lenses, I could switch out to PL mounts or whatever and use the same camera brains, right? And so that's kind of nice. It kind of future-proofs itself that way. Battery life on the Z-Cam is much better because it uses Sony, the Sony NPF. Uses the Sony NPF batteries. I have like 10 of those. I'll probably even pick up more. Those are actually probably more affordable than even like those Canon LP-E6 batteries. The Canon version of those batteries are like $50 a piece. And yeah, you can buy off-brand, but you can also buy off-brand NPF batteries for $30 a piece. So, you know, it's really a cheaper solution, while I could still kit it out and create a V-mount solution to power the whole rig with the Z-Cam. I like the fact that I can just throw batteries that I already own on there and get the power that I need. So when it comes down to image quality and things like that, the Z-Cam and the Blackmagic camera are really comparable. I mean, of all the tests that I watched, it was really a personal preference what you liked over the other. There are some limitations in terms of like certain frame rates and certain codecs, like the way those mix and match are kind of, you know, wonky even on both cameras. But to be completely honest, coming from the EOS R, which is 4K, but it's cropped 4K, any upgrade at all is fantastic when it comes to codecs and just frame rates, because the EOS R was prime Canon at the time when they would really limit the capabilities of the cameras for seemingly no reason. So any upgrade to frame rates and resolutions is welcomed on my end, and Blackmagic and Z-Cam offer, both of those offer plenty of options that I've never even dreamed of having. Like 6K, like, yeah, I'll take it. So there you have it. I'm going with the Z-Cam. All 3 of those options I think are great. I think the Z-Cam, in my opinion, is the best bang for my buck and the best value for me and my workflow. So I'm really looking forward to getting the Z-Cam, and I can't wait to share more about it with you. It's really cool to see a new camera company come in and do the things that they are doing. In fact, I watched a Gerald Undone video on the Z-Cam, and he was very critical of it, and he was fair about it. Like, he should have been critical. In fact, he said this isn't a great camera to use for long form content because there were some issues where if the battery died, it would lose all the footage and just random stuff like that. And not gonna lie, it freaked me out at first, but I got on their website because I realized Gerald's video was 6 months old. So I was like, maybe they've made some firmware updates. And they did. They addressed almost every one of those issues, which is really cool. So, you know, Zcam listens to the community, much like Blackmagic. They parallel each other quite a bit when it comes to their cinema cameras, and they're kind of like the Aperture, right? Where they come in for this unbelievable cost and they offer this incredible product and they listen to the community. I'm on board with that. So I don't feel like whether I buy the Zcam or the Blackmagic, I'm making a wrong or right decision. I feel like both are great options, but I just feel more comfortable with the Zcam for the reasons I mentioned, and I just can't wait to get my hands on it. So fear not. When I get the Zcam, I will definitely talk about it, and I will definitely talk about the good and the bad that I've experienced with it, because no matter what you buy, there's going to be good and bad, and I can't wait to use it. And hopefully buying it in the next couple of months, because starting in the late spring is like boating season, and I'm doing a documentary series around lake life, and so I can't wait to get that camera to capture that series. It's gonna look awesome. Hopefully releasing a teaser here soon for that series, because I did some shooting last summer. Shout out to my buddy Spencer for being willing to do that. And so I can't wait to use that camera in that setting and take you behind the scenes of that and show you what it's like to be a first-time cinema camera user. Like, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I feel like a kid all over again. Buying a new camera is exhilarating. I highly recommend it if you have the money. Okay, that's it for this video. I don't know how long, 14 minutes so far. Hopefully I'll cut that down quite a bit. I just need to shorten these videos.